Mrs. Cantrell was sitting in front of the television when the show was abruptly interrupted by a news release. Images of fallen trees, demolished houses, and overturned cars were on the screen, as the announcer spoke anxiously about the hurricane that had hit Florida this morning. "Oh my God, Carl," Mrs. Cantrell called out to her husband in a panic, fumbling for the phone. "Did you see? I need to call Danny." At that moment, the phone rang by itself, and the name of Danny, the son of the Cantrells, who lived in Florida with his wife Clarissa and 2 children, appeared on the phone screen. Danny said that they were all right, but their house was badly damaged, and repairs would take several months. The man cautiously asked if they could stay with their parents for a while. Mrs. Cantrell happily agreed. Clarissa was a smiling and clean girl. Her grandchildren were almost never naughty, and Danny always took care of his parents. They can get along great together. But everything turned out to be not so simple. It turned out that Clarissa gets up no earlier than 9 a.m., while Clarissa herself is on her feet already at dawn. She dressed the children too lightly, and it seemed to Mrs. Cantrell that they were cold. She made bacon and eggs and sandwiches for breakfast instead of toast with jam and cereal with milk. Jerry and Molly were playing in the yard on their way home from school instead of sitting down for lessons right after lunch. And the young went to bed much later than their parents. They sat on the veranda until midnight, watching movies on the laptop and talking. Mrs. Cantrell tried to slowly correct the bad habits of her family, but instead of listening to her, everyone continued to behave incorrectly. Clarissa began to smile less. The children started to hide from their grandmother in the garden, and Danny somehow told her that his family should live as they lived before. The upset woman went to her friend Claudia to complain. Claudia listened to her carefully and then casually asked if Clara was using the umbrellas she had given her for Christmas. Mrs. Cantrell replied that she was using it because it was very convenient. "But isn't it more convenient," Claudia asked, "to disperse the clouds over the yard and at the same time over the way to your favorite store and over the park where you walk with your grandchildren? You could go everywhere without being afraid of the rain." Mrs. Cantrell laughed and said it was stupid because you can't force nature to do as you like. "Exactly," Claudia nodded. "You can't change the world around you, so you change yourself. You take an umbrella so as not to get wet in the rain. In the same way, you shouldn't try to change your son's family. Stop making remarks to them. Let them be what they want." Mrs. Cantrell was a little offended, but after thinking about it, she agreed that Claudia was right. Never try to change another person. A person changes only when he or she wants to. Start the changes with yourself.